So I just read this very long article on why Sam Harris is wrong about determinism and free will, and this guy Dominic Timothy on Medium uh, writes um, about why Sam contradicts himself when he tries to persuade people that determinism is true, and why Sam contradicts himself when he tries to convince people that laws should be uh, influenced by the fact of determinism as well. But the thing is, Sam isn't saying in his book Free Will, he isn't saying that we shouldn't do anything uh, just because determinism is true. There's an example Sam uses uh, with a bear in the woods attacking someone, and so uh, because of this attack, people are caused to put the bear in a zoo or to put the bear down, um, and and so Sam is saying we should dispassionately implement or change the laws or our feelings towards murderers and see them instead as kind of these natural events occurring. I personally don't agree with that because sometimes anger itself is a tool of persuasion. Um, so, like if a friend betrays you, your anger towards that or your whatever emotions might occur may be useful in persuading that friend whether or not you continue that relationship, might persuade that friend to, from now on, take this new information into consideration. Anyways, here is my response to this article. Let me go all the way to the bottom of this unnecessarily long article. Where is it? Oh, uh, 51 responses. Um, It appears that my response has been deleted, and so I will just go into my notes here and read what I wrote. You got it all wrong. It's really quite astounding. The very fact that people can be persuaded demonstrates cause and effect. When someone sees a bird, they've been compulsively, sorry about that, persuaded by their eyes that there's a bird. If they deny they're seeing a bird, they're just being silly. They had no choice in the matter. Information has persuaded them without their consent. Sam realizes this, and so he sees the value in uttering words that he hopes can persuade. People cannot see something unless they're exposed to it, and so Sam exposes them to determinism so that he might get them to see it. If they see it and get it, then it's the same as seeing that bird. There's no going back once you see it unless someone can get you to see a different position. One might deny their wife is cheating, but once shown undeniable evidence, they will be persuaded no matter how much they don't want it to be true. Sam sees the value of exposure and implements it. Why does Sam do this? Because he too has been persuaded by information to see determinism as a fact. Whether or not that information occurred to him uh, uh, in the vacuum of his own mind, or whether or not he was persuaded by some other book, etc. It may have just popped into his head. Anyways, back to what I wrote. And he was also persuaded by something to believe it's important to spread it. He was caused by previous events to do so. He is another domino in an endless row of dominoes, which is connected to many other rows that intersect and split into many rows, etc. of dominoes. We don't we don't bother trying to convince an AC unit because we know it's unconscious. In the article, he talks about how we don't try to persuade air conditioning units to work or not, etc. We can, however, persuade a bear not to kill by simply shooting it in the arm. it will most likely be persuaded to run away. If not, more persuasion tactics may be necessary. And so we only try persuading conscious entities because they have the ability to be persuaded. Sam realizes that the brain makes choices, but those choices are dictated by unconscious processes and events. For example, we're unconsciously hardwired to dislike and avoid pain. And so pain can and often does persuade us to do things such as remove our hand from a hot burner, look both ways before crossing the street, etc. So for Sam, to use tools of persuasion is completely consistent with his deterministic worldview. The idea that we shouldn't bother reading his book because we're already determined to agree or disagree ignores the fact that we must have the experience of undergoing persuasion. The mind hasn't yet been exposed, and so although it already possesses the required capacity necessary to be persuaded by the book, it must still have the experience, just like the bear must experience being shot for it to be caused to run away. I typically, on my YouTube channel, Naturalist Ed, avoid using the term free will altogether, and instead I focus on the things that happen. We don't decide to forget where we put our keys or someone's name. We're at the mercy of the biological processes that cause us to remember. Imagine if you simply just never remembered your name. You're at you're at the complete and utter mercy of the brain's unconscious memory functions. The same goes for all thoughts. They either they either occur to us, pop into our heads, or they don't at any given moment. A thought occurring can make all the difference in life, and usually does. Imagine if the thought to look both ways before crossing a street simply just didn't occur to you and a car hits you. This shows how we're dependent on the unconscious processes that cause thoughts to pop into our minds. And this is why everything comes down to luck. Everything.